The next lesson that you will be creating has to do with fashion designing, one of the art careers that we've been discussing in class. For this lesson, what you will do, there is a cup of topics or trends. Each person will get to draw one of those. Okay, so for example, this one is professional businessman attire. There's other ones in here from poodle skirts to Western style. There's even one that says free choice. So each student is going to draw one fashion trend. Your task is to write that fashion trend on the back of your paper. Mine is Hawaiian shorts and shirt. So my design is going to be based on that Hawaiian theme. So I'm going to do a flower print top in that Hawaiian style with some denim shorts, and then I plan to draw some flip-flops or sandals on my person. So I want to walk you through the process of how this is going to work. Everybody's is going to be different because you're all drawing different types of trends to fashion. I do have some templates that will help make this process a little bit easier for you. There are templates for both men and women, but basically they come like this, and then you can just use those templates to trace onto your page. So for mine, I actually traced this template here to get my person design. You can flip them over so they can be drawn either way, but this is the one that I used. I laid it out on my paper, and I started out by tracing her in pencil. Okay, once you have your person traced in pencil, or if you choose to draw it freehand, that is fine too. It does not have to be traced. Once you have it ready to go, sorry about the interruption there. I had a teacher come into my room for a visit, so I kind of forgot where I left off. But I just wanted to talk to you about the process in designing that. So basically, I've drawn it in pencil first. Once I get my creation made, I'm going to design the clothing items of my choice. Now, I do have several different handouts that you guys will be able to use to help you with that teach you different ways to draw pants, jackets, shirts, dresses. So those are available to you. You can also research online if you need some help coming up with attire for your person as well. So once you get everything drawn, I want to talk to you about some of the techniques that you will be graded on. So one of the things that I want you to do after you've drawn it in pencil and finalized all of your drawing is to create your image in pen and ink. So I have a pen set out with different thicknesses of pen tips, and we're going to use some of the things that we have learned in the past with pen and ink techniques. So just as a quick review on those, we have hatching. Hatching is where you have a series of line strokes. They can be long or short to add shading or shadow. And then cross hatching would be that same type of line stroke, but with cross hatching, you actually have lines that cross over in the opposite direction, and they can be longer or shorter. I feel like those didn't show up very well on the screen. And then stippling is another technique. Stippling is when you add dots, and you can space them close together to make it look darker, or you can space them farther apart to make it look lighter. Okay, so stippling, hatching, and cross hatching. So I've already added that on some of my shirts. So if you look at the collar, I have some hatching where I've drawn some lines on the corners to help make that look a little bit darker. Did a little bit of hatching underneath the tank, and then did cross hatching here as shadow in the underside of the sleeves. Okay, so those are some places where I can add that. I might even do a little bit of cross hatching up here on the shoulders just to kind of show that there's a little bit of shadow in that area as well. I'll do just a little bit over, I'll move my hand here too, so I'll do a little bit of that cross hatching here on this side. Once again, that just shows a little bit of shadow and shading, okay? So I've already started on my pant legs, and I wanted them to kind of have a frayed look, like the denim was frayed. So what I'm doing for that is I'm just taking my pen, making hatching lines. Those are just the straight lines. And I'm doing that all the way across the base for the fringe on the jeans. Okay, so that is my hatching. I did add a little bit of stippling. If you look right here along the pockets, I wanted them to look like there was a little bit of shadow back in there, so I did a little bit of stippling with the dots in behind. That's something we could also do at the base of the belt, or even a little bit around the belt loops. Okay, so I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. So I've got a good start on my ink techniques. Once I have everything drawn and cross-hatched, hatching, and stippling with my ink, then I'm ready to begin my coloring process. I would like for you to use colored pencil for this, and so I've actually already started a little bit on mine, but there are a few techniques that I will be looking for with colored pencil. One thing that's important with colored pencil is the amount of pressure that you apply. So if I use my colored pencil and I press hard, I'm going to get a darker, bolder color. Okay. If I use my colored pencil and I press lighter, you're going to see that my color then changes to a lighter, less bold color. Okay, so those are one of the things that I'm going to look for is the pressure that you use to apply with your colored pencil. The other thing I'm going to look for is color blending. So I wanted to have denim shorts that are blue. I didn't just choose one color of blue. I actually chose several because I want to show how my colors can fade from one to another. It shows value. So I have dark blue, medium blue, and a light blue. So I've already started on this pant leg with some dark blue. I'm going to take my medium blue and I'm just going to kind of color right over the top of that so that those colors mix and blend together. Remember, if you press hard, you're going to get a darker tone. If you press lighter, you're going to get a lighter tone. I'm actually going to color in here around the buttons as well. And then I'm going to come right over the top of that lighter blue with medium blue, sorry, with my really light blue. And it's fine to color right on top of those colors. And once again, I'm going to go back to that medium blue. I'm just going to kind of color over and mix those tones together. I want it to kind of look like it has some shadow and some highlights. So right in here where it's a little bit lighter, that's where those highlight tones are coming through. And once again, I'm just using that light blue. The harder you press, the bolder the color is going to be. And then I'm going to come back to my dark blue here on the side where it looks a little more shadowed. I'm just coloring that right over the top of my medium blue. I'm going to do some of that up here as well. And don't worry about the pockets. I'm going to come back for those. Once again, taking that medium blue and just coloring right over the top to mix those colors in. I'm going to do that on the pockets as well. A little bit over here on the pocket. And then, like I said, that light blue just kind of brings in the highlights. So anywhere where you feel like there's white showing through from the background of the paper, I'm just kind of coloring over that just to blend them all together. And then I actually have belt loops up here, so I want to make sure I bring that color up and onto the belt loops as well. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of that darker blue right here along the button fly area. Okay, so that is one way to blend the colors with the denim shorts. I also want to do some color blending on our skin tones. So I actually have a couple of different skin tones that I'm going to use to mix together. So I'm going to start here on her leg, adding some of this peach color towards the sides. And once again, if you press hard, like I am on the outside, that color is going to be much more bold. And then I'm just kind of pressing lighter as I get to the center. And then I'm going to use my tan tone and kind of mix right in there with that. So I'm just kind of coloring right over the top of the peach, mixing in towards the center of the leg. So you can press lighter for a lighter color or press harder for a more bold color. That kind of gives an image of some highlight there in the center part of the leg. I'm going to just continue that color down and around the knee area. Once again, pressing hard is going to give me more of a bold color. And the lighter I press, I'll get more of a highlight. And once again, coming in with that tan and just mixing those tones together a little bit. I'm going to try to make sure to stay in the lines. And then I'm just going to bring that peach right back over the top just to kind of blend those colors a little bit more. And there's one leg done, okay? I would do that same tone for anywhere that her skin shows. So I would do that on the face, the arms, the tummy, and the other leg as well. Once I get the skin tones done, then I'm ready to start the next step. I'm going to do the hair on mine. For the hair, I chose some auburn colors. I have a little bit of a red brown as well as a brown. And I'm going to just mix those shades together, or mix those two tones together to create the hair with a little bit of darks and lights. So I'm going through with my brown first, and then I'm just going to come back through with that red brown and color right over the top, mixing some of those colors together. I'm doing a little color blending there. All right, and your hair can be any color. It does not have to be brown like mine. If you choose to do blonde hair or black hair, that's also fine. I'm going to go ahead and work on the tank on the inside of the shirt area. So I'm just doing that with a hot pink. And once again, going over it with a lighter pink just to make sure that all of the white from the background of the page is colored through. And then that gives a little bit of highlights as well, okay? The theme that I drew from the cup of choices was a Hawaiian print shirt. So one of the things that I want to do on my shirt is to design some bold flower. Mine's going to be a print with flowers and lots of colors. All right, so I've drawn a little bit of a floral print design on my shirt, and now I'm ready to come back in and add color to that. So I've gone with kind of some aqua green colors. I've got a lighter one as well as a darker one. And I'm going to just go ahead and start filling in the main part of the shirt color and around those flowers. And remember, if you press harder, you're going to get more of a darker, bolder color. And like I said, I'm just coloring around the floral design and the leaves that I have drawn on there. All right, so once I've colored around those flowers and colored in the shirts, I'm just going to take that darker color, coming back into a few spaces, maybe even where some of that cross-hatching is, to add just a little bit of darker shadowed parts. So anywhere where I have some of that cross-hatching is where I'll come over with that darker color, just to kind of give it a little bit of shadow effect there. Okay, now I also want to take a look at the inside of the florals from my design, and I'm going to add a little bit of detail on those too, where there's just a few little lines that kind of come out from the center on those pieces as well. Okay, and then you can leave the collar white, you can color the collar in, that's kind of just personal preference. So I'm going to take my darker tone and do a little bit of darker greens there in the back, and then let those get just a little bit of lighter green as they come to the front. Okay, I'm once again accessorizing, so around the belt area I'm just going to use that same green color and tie that in. All right, so there is a lot that you can do with this project. I don't expect that everybody's is going to look the same. Mine is just a work in progress. It's just a start, and I have other things that I can add for detail, but I wanted to make it clear about some of the things you would be graded on. So pen and ink, make sure you include hatching, cross-hatching, and stippling where needed. You can do some line texture in the hair if you want to do something like that. And then on colored pencils, keep in mind that we're doing color blending with various values to show lights and darks. Remember that if you press hard with your colored pencil, you'll get a darker, bold color. If you press light with your colored pencil, you'll get a light color. So I'm eager to see what kind of fashion creations you guys can make.